Another betrayal, ma'am. Before the elections, the government promised a legal guarantee for MSP. After the election, the promise have disappeared without a trace. Madam Finance Minister is here and I'm glad she's present in the House. She in her speech mentioned that, and she began her speech with a flourish on agricultural growth. But when it came to MSP, the one demand that every farmer of this country has raised, there was only silence. No legal guarantee, no relief from the crippling debt. Instead of waiving farm loans, the government has increased the Kisan credit limit, which essentially means handing farmers more debt than relief. Since 2014, and whatever data I'm quoting in the House, if the chair wants, I'll lay it on the table of the House before tonight. Ma'am, since 2014, in the last 10 years, there have been 1 lakh farmer suicide. That's 1 suicide every hour. These aren't just numbers. They're a grim reminder of a system that abandons those who feed the nation while they conveniently feed lies to the entire country. They boasted of digital India, but conveniently ignore the dire state of our schools. While flashy slogans flood social media, the harsh reality is PM Poshan remains stagnant, leaving millions of children without nutritious food. More than 50% of the children under the age of 5 suffer from chronic malnutrition, with 17% underweight, 36% stunted, and 6% wasted. A crisis screaming for attention, and yet the budget for PM Poshan remains dejectedly inadequate, proving once again that the union government is invested more in headlines than hungry children. Another half-truth: before the elections, the NDA government or the ruling party, BJP, promised LPG cylinders for all. But in reality, 1.2 crore households, I repeat the figure, 1.2 crore households could not afford even a single refill in 2022-23 because of their exorbitant price hikes. This is not upliftment. This is abandonment. When people have to choose between a meal and a refill, their promise is nothing but a cruel joke. In 2019, the cabinet approved 8,574 crore for the census. Yet in 2025, today, even after 5 years, only 570 crore has been allocated in this year's budget. 5 years late and still counting. And this is not happening this year either. But why does this matter? Why am I talking about census? Because without a census, every policy, every income tax slab revision, and every economic projection is simply and just a blind projection and a blind gamble. The Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, Women Reservation Act, which was passed by calling a special session 18 months back in 2023, can't be implemented, as its rollout depends on the completion of the next census and subsequent delimitation. Both are yet to be scheduled. The government seems to prefer running the country on guesstimates and propaganda rather than real data, because facts expose their failures and they would rather keep the nation in the dark. As we look at the economic policies of the NDA government, one cannot help but see a pattern. And what is the pattern? Ma'am, the pattern is of or if I am to say, it resembles the tale of a reverse Robin Hood. What is a reverse Robin Hood? We know the story of Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. BJP has mastered the art of taking from the poor and giving it to the wealthy elite. So reverse Robin Hood. For instance, I'll give you an example. For instance, the waiving of corporate loans worth thousands of crores using taxpayers' money, while poor farmers struggling with small debts are left to suffer. The government claims to have no money to increase subsidies on essential commodities, yet it slashes corporate tax rates, giving billionaires an even bigger slice of the pie. This is not economic justice. This is economic favoritism at its worst.